Well, I knew the start of the season was going to be rough. Some of the difficulties I've encountered have been entirely self-inflicted, mostly due to the technical issues I had in the first episode. But lately, our luck in games has just been non-existent. We're making just too many mental errors. And although from a stats point of view, we are better than teams we're facing, we're not beating the teams we're supposed to be beating. And we're getting thumped by the teams we should be playing close. It's frustrating to say the least. And now to top it off, we've got a couple injuries to a couple of players that I'm trying to rely on, at least until the January transfer window. To say we have issues would be an understatement. I think we've moved beyond issues and have just bought an entire subscription. My name's FM19, and this is the Palace March, Episode 2. I'm going to have to keep fooling around with the size of this box here until I can get it right. Hopefully it's not going to vary between episode to episode. Same thing with the box on the title screen. I like OBS. I just wish it had a ruler. Maybe it does have a ruler and I just haven't been able to find it. Entirely possible. Anyhow, in the course of the PibCac errors I had last time with episode 1, PibCac being PBKAC, problem between keyboard and chair, I totally forgot to go over the incoming transfers, so I'm going to go through those now. First in, Chris Mepham from Brentford. I wanted to get younger on the defensive line, and he was one of the best young players out there. 20 years old, Welsh international, really good ball-playing defender. The cost of getting him from Brentford was loaning him back to Brentford until the end of this season, and I was okay with that. Especially with Sacco leaving, even with Sacco leaving, I should say, I've got depth on the back line. Him not coming in this year, it's not a huge deal. I have him next year, and frankly, that's when I'm going to need him. Next in, well, this is where a lot of my self-inflicted problems happen. Leo Santos, a young Brazilian with under 21 caps, also a defensive center back, also a really good ball-playing defender, 2.5-star current ability, 5-star potential ability. Got him for a song. Forgot to loan him back, and now he can't get a work permit because even though he has the 5 under 20 caps, and even though I paid £5 million for him, going up to £6 million with appearance fees, he could not qualify for a work permit. I tried loaning him out. One of the clubs in Denmark tried picking him up, and he couldn't qualify for a work permit there. So he is sitting in Selhurst Park, hopefully keeping fit. I'm going to try and loan him out again in the January transfer window. We'll see what happens. I'm going to appeal for a work permit as well. Hopefully he'll get some under 21 appearances or even some first team appearances for Brazil and qualify. If not, I hate to think I threw away £6 million. He's 19 years old. He could recover from having a year off without competitive football, but it's certainly not going to help his development. Jake Kirby came in on a free. He is a 16-year-old project. 1-star current ability, 4-star potential ability. My scouts found him. I went in and started scouting all the available 16, 17, 18, and 19-year-olds. It's going to take a little bit of time. Found a couple players of quality who decided to sign with other teams, but Jake Kirby is one who decided to sign with us. He's a project. If he never sees first team playing time, I'm reasonably sure I could sell him off for money in the future and come out ahead. Romercio, another young Brazilian center back, really good central defender, also plays an okay ball-playing defender, 21 years old, 2-star current ability, 4-star potential ability. Got him in from CTB, also forgot to loan him back to CTB. I've learned early on that if you get players from overseas and you're reasonably sure they're not going to qualify for a work permit, chances are you can loan them back to the team they're playing on. And I'm okay doing that. I really am. I lucked out. He is on loan at Melbourne City. They picked him up for the A-League. Hopefully that will give him enough experience that he will qualify for a work permit here next year. Fingers crossed. Marcos Jr., also in the same vein as Santos and the others, 25 years old, attacking midfielder. I brought him in to be depth. 3-star current ability, 3.5-star potential ability, 25 years old. Couldn't get him a work permit. and this was on me. I totally failed to notice that he has never been capped for Brazil, either as a youth player or a first teamer. I lucked out. Lokomotiv Moscow picked him up, and he's doing okay. He had a really good first game there. 1 goal and 1 assist. Since then, the other game he had wasn't so hot, but I think the experience he will get over in Russia will definitely help him, and I'm hoping it will be enough for him to get a work permit here next year. Safwan Mabai is a free transfer I picked up, 21-year-old French center back, 2-star current ability, 3.5-star potential ability, brought him in to be depth on the defensive back line. Not a bad player, not a great player. He's in the rotation. He'll get playing time, and he'll improve. Shea Adams was my big acquisition that is actually playing on the first team. Plays all the attacking midfielder positions really well. Can also play striker. Can also play midfielder left and right in a pinch if I need him to. 22 years old. 2.5-star current ability. 4-star potential ability. The only thing I'm not a fan of is he tries to play his way out of trouble. Other than that, he's a good young player who I think will get better with playing time. Unfortunately, he is out with a calf strain. That goes to some of the issues I talked about in the intro. Christian, another young Brazilian player, this time a midfielder, plays 4 positions really well, and he's also a decent roaming playmaker and central midfielder in Canada. Essentially, the guy can play almost anything in the midfield you want him to. 22 years old, 2-star current ability, 3-star potential ability, brought him on his depth more than anything else. And again, failed to notice he had not been capped. I would love to say this happened because, it was 4 hours into the episode and I was having more than my fair share of issues, but the fact of the matter is I just overlooked it, and I'm usually not like that. 9 times out of 10 what happens when I take over a big team and I start scouting worldwide, I really pay attention to that sort of thing, and for whatever reason, I didn't. He managed to go out on loan to AZ. I think that is going to be enough to get him a work permit for next year, where he will come in and be the primary backup on the midfield line. And then last in, Iker Martin, another one of those players I found sitting on the free pile. 16-year-old Spaniard, plays the right side of the field fairly well in most cases. He's probably best as a winger. I may be able to train him as a defensive right back. 1-star current ability, 3-star potential ability. I think he can go higher than that 3-star potential ability, especially seeing as how his physicals and his technicals are already fairly good. The first touch needs help, and so does the passing. The tackling and marking are only going to get better. He's 16 years old. I have him for at least 5 or 6 years. And if for whatever reason he just never gets on the first team, I'm also reasonably sure I can sell him off. Schedule-wise, we've stunk. There's no other way to put it. After Liverpool beat us, we were home against Newcastle, who admittedly is one of the poorer teams in the Premier League this year, and they beat us 2-0. Perez with a 5th-minute goal, Origi with a 64th-minute goal. Scott Dan had a mare of a game. The team as a whole just was not very good, and that's despite the fact we had more shots and more on target than Newcastle. We should have won this game. I don't know what went wrong and where exactly. It's possible it could be a tactics thing, which I spent some time looking at before I started recording here. We'll have to see how that turns out. After Newcastle, we were away at Morecambe for a Carabao Cup second-round game. They're a League 2 team, and we beat them on penalty kicks. 25 shots, 11 on target, and it took a Milivojevic penalty kick and 2 Ayew penalty kicks for us to win 3-0. And that's after they had a player sent off on a double yellow card in the 58th minute. So we spent the last 22 minutes of the game a man up and still couldn't score a goal. Story of the season so far. I played I'm not going to say mostly rotated side, but there were some players who got a lot of first-team playing time that normally wouldn't. Aaron Wan-Bissaka picked up a slight injury this game, but he'll be back for the Manchester game here in a little bit, no problem. I'm not going to say this was a good performance, because it really wasn't. 3 penalty kicks to beat a League 2 team when we're a man up, especially when we outshoot them and have a huge possession advantage. It's just it's just, there's a lot of words I want to use, but I want this channel to be kind of family friendly. So after Morecambe, we were away at Leicester. They are currently top of the league, or they were top of the league when we played them. This was a really good game for us. We were close. The stats show a game that we probably should have won with 20 shots, 6 on target. Leicester had a slight possession advantage. Harry Maguire got a 20th minute goal. Vardy had a 41st minute goal. Christian Benteke had a 6th minute goal off a really nice header. The team as a whole played pretty solid. Scott Dan, again, was about the only weak spot on the team. We had our chances. We just could not put them away. And for a team that's top of the Premier League, a 2-1 loss isn't season-breaking by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think it is. It's possible this game could come into play later in the season, but I'm aiming for a mid-table finish. And the fact that we were able to compete with Leicester, I think it's a good thing. It's frustrating to me that we're not able to close games out. We think with 20 shots and 6 on target, we should have gotten more across the goal line. The other thing that happened is right after this game in a training session, Wilfried Zaha has shin splints, and he's going to be out for at least a month and a half, if not 2 months, if not longer. That's not a good thing. He's the guy that makes the team go. When Zaha has a bad game, the team doesn't score. When Zaha's pretty good, the team's pretty good. Schlupp is his primary replacement. After that, it gets really thin. Shea Adams can play over there on the left, but he is coming back from a calf strain. He's out for at least another week. And today, we're playing Man City at home. Now, Man City's having a rough start to the season. They are currently in 8th place. They've won 2 and lost 2. They've also had some injury issues they're dealing with. De Bruyne has been out. For some reason, Claudio Bravo's unregistered. Today, we're playing at Selhurst. It's wet. It's rainy. It's a typical London day, I think. We're going to have to be on our A game to beat Man City. I think it's possible. Heck, anything's possible in Football Manager, but it's not likely. One of the things I have been tweaking, so I wanted a tactic that played to the team's strengths. And to me, and I fully admit I could be wrong here, the team's strengths are on the wing. Zaha and Townsend are both really good wingers. Riedewald and Wan-Bissaka are both really good defensive backs on either flank. Milivojevic and MacArthur are solid in the middle. Meyer is the best attacking midfielder we have. Benteke is the best striker we have, and he's a target man. So the idea is clear the ball to the flanks, have Riedewald or Wan-Bissaka get it up to Zaha or Townsend. In this case, Townsend and Ayew. They cross it in to Benteke. Or we also look for the overlap with Riedewald and Wan-Bissaka moving up, Townsend and Ayew moving closer to the box, Benteke there to be the target man on support, to head the ball or send the ball to whoever has a clear shot on goal. Meyer, MacArthur, Milivojevic, Dan, and Tompkins are the strength in the middle of the field. It seems to be working from a theory point of view. We've had our chances. We've had our opportunities. For whatever reason, we just cannot get the ball across the goal line. I mean, 3 goals against Morecambe is nice, but when you realize they were all penalty kicks, because Morecambe's idea of tactics that game was to foul us, it's not good. We had our chances against Leicester. We had our chances against Newcastle. We just did not make the most of them. I'm not changing much this game against Manchester City. We're going a little bit more direct in the passing. We're floating the crosses in. I'm going to take pass into space off. We're overlapping on the right and the left. We're working the ball into the box, and we're going to see what happens there. So, coming up next, our game against Man City, and I will be back with that in just a bit. Well, this is our team today. Hennessy in goal, Riedewald, Dan, Tompkins, and Wan-Bissaka as the defensive back 4, Milivojevic as the defensive midfielder, MacArthur as the midfielder, Townsend, Meyer, and Ayew up top as the attacking midfielders, and Benteke as the striker. I don't know why they're calling that a 4-2-4 wide. I think that's because it's what the tactic initially started out as, and when I just moved people around, it didn't adjust. That's a bug. I had to pause the game up there for a second to get all the panels in that set. Walker with the throw-in to Aguero, back to Walker, back to Aguero, centers it, Silva's there. Left side, that's not what we were looking for. Did Silva just get lost in the crowd? Yeah, Silva just got left alone. Now, a little bit past a half hour in, we've had our chances. 3 shots, 2 on target, but we give it away there. Sterling with the ball. Over to Silva, dispossessed. Benteke has it. Back to Ayew. Driving right, looking for the cross in, and Benteke was fouled. Milivojevic with the penalty shot. And Ederson with a nice save. Walker gets it back to Ederson and knocks it away. Riedewald's there, but Aguero takes the ball away from him. He sends it right to Ayew, though. To Meyer. To Milivojevic. Back to Meyer. Crosses it. Townsend can't get to the ball. Fernandinho has it, and the highlight ends. So that's what I'm talking about. We have our chances, but then we do stuff like that. Dan kicks it right to Laporte. Otamendi to Laporte. Back to Fernandinho. Up to Mahrez. Back to Fernandinho. Out to Walker, who's all alone on the right side. Drives towards the box and dribbles back. Izmir, did that ball look like it went right over Hennessy? What happened there? What the heck was Hennessy doing? It's like he reached down to try and grab the ball and it went like 2 yards in front of him. Riedewald's on a 6'2", Townsend's on a 6'2", Tompkins is on... the whole team is just... 4 shots, 3 on target for us. Milivojevic can miss penalty kick. Wow, live by the penalty kick, die by the penalty kick. You know what? Hopefully getting him fired up for the second half will work. Walker with the throw in to Pereira. Taps it over to Mahrez. Long pass across the field to Guerrero. Back to Otamendi. Over to Guerrero. Wan-Bissaka steps in front of it. Ayew sends it up to Benteke. To Meyer. Over to Townsend. He's got options. Cross it. Milovijevic's there and he scores. Okay, that was nice. Now, I want to say, and this could be just me, in FM19, Townsend would have taken the shot and hit it right at the keeper. Nice cross by Townsend. That was well done. Okay, you know, coming up on 65 minutes, we're going to make a couple subs here. Okay. Now, you know what? Sorloth is going to come on for Benteke. Soare is going to come on for Riedewald. You know what? We're going to move Wan-Bissaka up to winger. Believe it or not, that's where he actually started his career at before being moved back to the defensive line. Ward is going to come on and take his spot. Ayew's going to come off. And we'll see what happens. 10 minutes left in the game. You know, we're going to go attacking. Silva with a corner kick in. Hennessy with a nice save in the air. How he can do that, but miss the ball going right across him. Wan-Bissaka. Back to Tompkins, who holds the ball up. He kicks it to Wan-Bissaka, or no, he kicked it to, who was that? Gave it away. And Jesus scores. Blasting damn. Who's 29? Kicked it right at him. And Hennessy with a weak save attempt. Meyer gives the ball away to Pereira. Fernandinho to Silva. Across the field to Bernardo, and that is the game, and we are in last place. Well, Milivojevic missed a penalty, but he made up for it with a goal in the 47th minute. Silva, Sterling, and Jesus were just too much, though. That Jesus goal, though. Who's the number 29 player? Wan-Bissaka. How? Oh, come on, man. You know what, Orlando? I disagree with you there. Boys are getting yelled at. Well, Bournemouth is a mid-table team. Swansea's in the championship. That could be interesting in the Carabao. I don't want to go out in the third round, but I don't know. We'll have to see. Southampton's mid-table as well. Man United is not having a good start to this season. I don't know if it's injuries or what, but they are all the way down in 16th place. Then again, we're in last place, so Liverpool is still unbeaten. I think what we are going to do is come back for the Burnley game. That gives us a few games against some mid-table teams and a championship team to see how well we compete. Hopefully, the players that have been injured are going to come back healthier and better. We've got to figure out what's going on the offense here. It's just frustrating as heck. We've had our chances. We've had our opportunities. We just can't score. Benteke is supposed to be a good player. Is he just not the playmaker we need? Do I have to play Sorloth and Ayew up there? Because we can't live by the penalty kick. You know, we got 3 of them against Morecambe, but then Milivojevic missed the one here against Man City. As much as I hate to say it, this game against Burnley is probably going to be our early season crucible. If we don't beat them, chances are we're going to be in a relegation fight most of the season, and we shouldn't be. A couple of these games we should have won. Be that as it may, though, we still got a couple episodes to right the ship, so going forward, that's what we're going to try and do. If you liked what you've seen and heard, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel for more content. Questions, criticisms, comments, leave them down below. I will answer them as fast as I can. My name is FM19. I thank you for watching.